Race number 2 for GT Cup Europe in Portimao getting underway very shortly. It is the first meeting of 6 in 2024 for the championship, coming from the Autodromo Internazionale de Algarve. 50-minute race to come with the driver changes from the 21st and 29th minute of the race. Very different complexion to what we had yesterday after a very wet qualifying this morning. No such dramas. Much warmer, much drier. Track temperature at 27 degrees. Perfect condition for racing. And we have another classic GT Cup Europe Porsche v Ferrari battle, where it is even Stevens between the two manufacturers on the front two rows of the grid after Ivan Velasco claimed pole position for the Murtal Motorsport team, but Fabio Barbini starting alongside him in the Tsunami Racing team as they make their debut in the championship. No cars yet on the grid. They're still making their way around. Here they are. And we'll be underway shortly after they've gathered up on the grid. Chris Stevens and George Morgan in the commentary box for this afternoon's race. Yeah, George, it's looking close again between the Ferraris and the Porsches, and unlike yesterday, the conditions aren't favouring the Porsche so much.
No, I think, first and foremost, thank you so much, Chris. Thank you, everyone, tuning in at home as well. Welcome to Portimao. And yes, it has to be said, changeable conditions were the affliction in race. Well, we saw many moments, especially in qualifying, actually, I would say, in preparation for the race one we had yesterday, and Porsche were on top, given the fact that there is a very technical kind of side to this track, in a sense. If you especially look at Sector 2 and Sector 3, the Porsche tends to favour better in the corners, whereas the Ferrari tends to prefer the more straight line speed essences of this track. But it was sort of exacerbated in terms of the corner side of things for the Porsches with the wet weather that we had, a sprinkling in the morning, which very quickly turned to somewhat of a deluge out on track, which then enforced the wet tyres to be used. And obviously the Porsche was so much better and much more effective in that opening qualifying session that we had during the course of the weekend, and it did obviously allow them to effectively have better positions for the start of the race in race one. But we're now back again. Different set of affairs this time. Ferrari dominant at the head of the field with Ivan Velasco representing. Barbini, though, joining him. Of course, parts of a Porsche team that are here this time around with Bellici, also another Ferrari, Eugenie Leonov in another Porsche. So it's Ferrari, Porsche on the front two rows of the grid.
Yeah, that green Ferrari we saw circulating around is the pole-sitting car of Ivan Velasco. This is the Volcano Motorsport Porsche of Evgeny Leonov, who will be starting in 4th position on the 2nd row of the grid, hoping for a bit more luck than what he's had last season. He's actually said that he's hoping to have used up all the bad luck he had last year, where it's fair to say he got caught up in a fair few incidents that weren't really his fault and really damaged his title campaign, and also I'm sure damaged his wallet as well for that repair bill. So I'm sure he's been walking around with every rabbit's foot he can find and chucking salt over his shoulder every 5 minutes and steering well clear of any black cats.
Well, one thing you can say about Eugenie Leonov, he still performed and pulled out a grand performance at Spa last season when partnered with Adam Christodoulou for that Enduro race that they took part in. And credit to Leonov, and essentially bouncing back after the hardships he faced at Portimao, alluding to bad luck. I mean, it was the final lap, it was the final corner, and he spun it heading through those dire straits of the race, but still, nevertheless, back again, and hasn't come up against those same fears this time as he looks to take his place on this grid spot. Another young man who has been unlucky, arguably, over the course of last season and this season as well, as Alex Ryman.
Yesterday, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate at Torre Vip after being collected, given the fact that Jorge Cabezas misjudged his braking point heading down into Torre Vip, and Alex Ryman was one of many casualties that made his way around turn 5.
So that 78 car just in front of it is the one that will be on the front row of the grid. Fabio Barbini there, the black, pink and white car from Tsunami. It's ZRS Motorsport for Barbini and Scanicchio last year, and it is a Tsunami racing team for them this year. Change of outfit, but still got the same great speed as Fabio Barbini. But interestingly, in qualifying, the Velasco, the bronze driver, out-qualifying the pro behind them of Babini and Balici, which is quite surprising to see. It doesn't really bode too well for the others when Luka Ludwig gets out of the car. I suppose their only hope really is that he's so exhausted from having done GT Cup and GT Open this weekend. They've just had their race in the GT Open. He did the second stint for Racing One. He doesn't quite have the same amount of speed. But that was on board there with yesterday's race winners, Dieter Schweppes and Leandro Martins in the Rackart Motorsport Porsche 992, the AM-entered car that took the overall win yesterday. Most unusual to see. They, of course, now go into this race with a 10-second handicap, as does our pole-sitting number 80 car, the one we're looking at here for taking the Pro-Am honours yesterday. Was Rosso Corsa second on the road and then Mertel, but after Andrea Balici rather whacked the back of Velasco's car into turn 3, the Rosso Corsa car was given a penalty that put the Mertel car back in second, and that was also the Pro-Am win, so it's 10 seconds of handicap for the Mertel team, 5 seconds for Rosso Corsa, also 10 seconds for Alex Ryman and Evgeny Leonov as Pro-Am runners who run solo, and also 5 seconds for the second place AM car from Q1 Track Racing. That's Nicolas van Derendonk and Bogdan Dumar in the 57 Q1 Track Racing.
Still wouldn't factor out Dieter Schweppes at this stage. Obviously the highest performing AM in qualifying. But taking a look at Evgeny Leonov as well at Volcano Motorsport as he gets himself prepared. There's Alex Ryman. Got a chance to speak to him earlier on in the paddock. Very excited to take part in this one. Kind of mixed thoughts around the conditions. Of course, alluded to the dry weather when I was chatting to him. But when I asked him, I said, would you not prefer wet? He said, well, maybe. He wasn't really decisive in that matter. Dieter Schweppes, who we're currently seeing, grid position 6. Of course, race winner back previously in our last race, in our first race of the championship as well. Looking to see if lightning can strike twice. Going to be a little bit more of a challenge given the handicaps that he's going to be facing, but is the highest runner in the AM category coming off the back of qualifying. 6th fastest ahead of Nathan Brauns, who enters his first proper GT championship.
Let's take a look back at what happened yesterday. It was Porsches all the way up at the front of the field with the 67 of Federico Alrifai, who was on pole position, but it was Luka Ludwig powering round the outside to take the lead for Mertel Motorsport. Absolutely lightning start for him, but a moment here, it was the Jorge Cabezas car that slammed into Alex Ryman, also collected the number 11 Q1 Track Racing car as well. Wide moment for Ivan Velasco is what gave Dieter Schweppes the lead of the race, and then a tag from the rear from Andrea Balici gave them second place, but they were penalised for it. But it was an overall victory for the AM pairing of Dieter Schweppes and Leandro Martins at Rackart Motorsport on debut in the championship, taking the overall honours. Of course, that has put them at the head of the championship in the 911 car, with Ivan Velasco and Luka Ludwig in second, Lorenzo Innocenti and Andrea Balici in third, with Xander Prisbalak and Lars Zanen in fourth, Evgeny Leonov in 5th position there as well. See how he goes. Race number 2 of the weekend about to get underway. Here is how they will line up. It is Ivan Velasco on pole position for Mertel Motorsport, and then the Tsunami Racing Team Porsche Fabio Babini alongside him. Andrea Balici in the Rosso Corsa Racing Ferrari alongside the Volcano Motorsports Porsche of Evgeny Leonov. Then comes Alex Ryman, and then our AM pole sitter Dieter Schweppes from Rackart Motorsport in 6th position. And his nearest class rival is Nathan Brauns in the 52 Q1 Track Racing Porsche alongside Matteo Levisi. That's the car that started on pole yesterday. Lars Zanen in the 53 Q1 car alongside the 81 Alvaro Libera from Mertel Motorsports. Nico van Derendonk, the 57 Q1 Track Racing car alongside Nicolas Salens, his teammate in the number 11 car. Indrik Jaska in 13th position ahead of Johannes Zelga, a pair of Porsches lining up on row 7. Camille Perriand and Glauco Solieri, that's RO1 Racing and GDL Racing respectively in 15th and 16th. Dario Barrichelli and Alba Vasquez in the all-female number 83 Mertal Motorsport crew. Leon Chen not starting this race after crashing in qualifying by the looks of it. Stefano Bozzoni in 20th place, and then 21st and last is Annie Frozio. And yes, 22 cars on the entry list, but down to 20. We haven't seen the street art Aston Martin, not Aston Martin, I'm still in 2023 there. Ferrari 488 Challenge from street art out on the grid. And yeah, definitely no orange Mertel car after Leon Chen put that car in the barriers. I say put it in the barriers. It did look like more of a sort of technical failing on the car with the brakes locking up very dramatically up at turn 10, bringing out the red flags in this morning's qualifying session. And it looks like, unfortunately, the Mertel team haven't quite been able to get that car ready in 3 hours since then, which is not really a surprise.
No, I mean, they've had a very busy weekend of Mertal Motorsport in terms of getting cars back up and ready. They were very successful in getting Annie Frozio's car back and running after Jorge Cabezas unfortunately clattered it, it tore a bit. We alluded to that earlier on, but it same could not be said, obviously, for the sister car that had been in qualifying, unfortunately, and it was definitely a technical failure of sorts, I think, from the outlook, because, of course, we saw the amount of smoke coming off the brakes as they locked up.
I might just be being kind to Leon Chen there, just saying it didn't look like driver error.
No, I don't think it did either. I think obviously it looked like there was a technical failure involved, but yeah, very unfortunate, and obviously shame not to see them there. And once again, it looks like they're going to be faced with some repair work to be done ready for Hockenheim. But it's all down to Ivan Velasco and Fabio Babini, Chris.
Another classic Ferrari v Porsche battle in the GT Cup Europe in 2024. It'll be the Ferraris on the left-hand side as we'll look at it. The green Mertel car on pole position on the left-hand side alongside the black Porsche of Fabio Babini, then the blue Rosso Corsa car and the orange Volcano car, Porsche of Evgeny Leonov. And remember, that 80 car went steaming from 5th to 1st in the start of the race yesterday. What will it do from pole position? What will Andrea Bellici do from the second row of the grid, as well as they very gingerly make their way up towards the line and await the red lights to get race number 2 in the GT Cup Europe underway in Portimao. It's a long wait and the green light is shown. We are underway in Portimao for race number 2. The number 80 Mertel car leading the way, but still being challenged by Fabio Babini, but he can't quite get up the outside. Alex Ryman's made a blinding start. He's made up 2 places and is into 3rd position in the EST1 Racing Porsche. Wide there goes one of the GDL cars at turn 2. Very clean start as Leonov there's holding the position against the AM class leader, but it is Andrea Bellici who's lost ground a little bit. Seems to be down in 6th position for the Ferrari. That's not quite what we expected the Ferraris to do off the line.
Yeah, and certainly not someone you'd expect, well, something you'd expect from someone like Andrea Bellici, who is, of course, a fantastic performer and a very experienced driver as well. Dieter Schweppes already trying to tackle Evgeny Leonov, heading through the middle sector, as you can now see the nose to tail now between the 2 Porsches. Bellici waiting in the wings, looking to try and recover what was lost. Remember, he started 3rd, is now down in 6th place with Lars Zanen in behind him, as well as we ride on board with Bellici, heading up through towards this next left-hander, trying to tackle this time Dieter Schweppes, of course, our winner in the Rackar car. Home race victory, as well as they both taken a very aggressive inside line. The 488 challenge now lit up as they head through this next left-hander through towards turn 13. At the head of the field, though, Babini stretching away from Alex Ryman, down in 3rd. Evgeny Leonov backing up and almost bottling up this crew of cars that are waiting in the wings in behind. And this will offer a chance to the likes of Bellici, but also the likes of Dieter Schweppes, who is very, very good at handling these particular situations. They climb down through Galp Corner, descend now out of turn 15. They'll begin yet another lap.
Evgeny Leonov in his 2nd year of competition in the GT Cup Europe, having come over from the Spanish touring car scene, but he has got the GT Winter Series Cup 2 champion bearing down on him in the form of that Rackar Porsche, and looking down the inside into turn 1. It's going to get very, very tight, and the Rosso Corsa cars that bail out of the action as well. But at the end of lap 1, it is Ivan Velasco who leads by half a second to Fabio Babini's Tsunami Racing Team car. Alex Ryman in third for EST1, and then this battle for fourth place between Evgeny Leonov and Dieter Schreps, who got a great run through turn 4 there, right on the back of that Volcano car. And the Rackart looking towards the inside, but Leonov defends to the inside at the hairpin. Schreps will try the old up and under. Behind them, you've got Andrea Bellici close by, and then Lars Zanin, Nicolas Salins, Alvaro Labera, and Matteo Lavisi completing the top 10, as again side by side into turn 7 this time, but the Rackart car going right round the outside. Brilliant move by Dieter Schweppes to take fourth position.
Yeah, truly fantastic there from Dieter Schweppes. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade, and that's certainly what he did. Really fascinating.
And paint your car with it as well, according to Rackart as well. It's very lemony.
And Schweppes almost sounds like Schweppes as well.
I didn't want to make that joke yesterday, but glad you were the one to do it.
It was on the tip of my tongue. But yes, it's the AM leader Dieter Schweppes who now moves ahead of Evgeny Leonov, and it'll be the turn next of Rosso Corsa's very own Andrea Bellici, who's surely going to have to try and make something happen. He will have an opportunity, I think, down the long straight. Of course, that's where the Ferrari is best, but he's being pursued also by a crew of cars in behind. He's getting all a bit busy, heading through the final sector as they descend through Galp Corner. And as we can see them now, all queuing up. Lars Zanin trying to also spy an opportunity in his own right. Just look at Dieter Schweppes now. He's managed to caroo away and grow at least somewhat of a gap in between he and Leonov, who I think is more concerned about defending the place as opposed to attacking right now. Bellici having a look down the inside, can't quite generate enough straight line speed. So the Porsche still performing with the Ferrari close behind.
Yeah, difference in the speed trap was only about 4 kilometers an hour, but of course Leonov did have a little bit of a toe from Dieter Schweppes, which was a little bit slower. But yeah, up at the front of the first, very evenly matched in front. If all three of the cars in front did exactly the same speed. Down the inside though, Andrea Bellici at turn 5 on Evgeny Leonov. That's for 5th position, runs the Porsche out wide. That gives an opportunity for Lars Zanin in the 53 Q1 car to try and get up alongside, but Leonov with the inside line. But Zanin right round the outside. That's the second time that that Leonov has been done round the outside of that corner. And Lars Zanin in the 53 car doing an absolutely cracking job in what is, I believe, his first year of GT Cup competition, having last year made his GT4 race debut.
Also taking part in BMW M2 CS Racing Cup Benelux as well, rising to the occasion this time around. We'll be swapping in for Xander Prisbalak, the AM champion from last season. Let's take a look at the replay from Andrea Bellici, just leaving it late on the brakes and forcing an entry, heading through Tor Aviv. Fantastic move and a necessary one as well, and that offered the opportunity for Lars Zanin to get up the inside.
It's a bit of a nudge, I think, on the exit of the corner. Looked like it from the off-board. Didn't look like it from the on-board, but yeah, might have been just a slight swap of paint there. Race leaders separated by only 0.4 of a second over the line. Fabio Babini half a second quicker than Ivan Velasco on that previous lap. Now, this is something we saw through a lot of yesterday's race. A Porsche just not quite being able to find a way through on the Ferrari owing to its superior straight line speed. It's a 670 brake horsepower, 3.9 litre V8 engine in the Ferrari versus a 510 horsepower, 4 litre flat 6 in the Porsche. So as you can imagine, the Ferrari is significantly quicker down the straights than the Porsche, but the Porsche owns the stuff in between because it is lighter, it's got more downforce, and it has wider front tyres as well, owing to the balance of performance between the two machines. So when it comes to the lap times, they are very evenly matched, but it does mean that the Porsches have to get a bit inventive with how they pass these Ferraris, stuff like that, looking up the inside at turn 11. We've got a yellow flag out at turn 5. Oh, it is immediately rescinded, so no worries there. As Babini continues to look down the inside, he's drawn an overlap into turn 13. That's where Velasco lost the lead yesterday. It's where he loses the lead today, as well as Fabio Babini takes the lead for the Tsunami Racing team aboard that number 78 Porsche. Got to be careful though, because the Ferrari is monstrously quick down this straight, and if he's close enough, he could just blast right past the Porsche by the time they get into turn 1. But for now, it's Babini that leads again.
Yeah, Velasco trying to get back in his aero as well. Let's take a look at the moments at turn 1. Now, this was where I think we might have seen some brief, it was turn 5 actually, where we saw the yellow flag being erupted, but it turned green again rather quickly. Oh, very tight. That, of course, being the number 67 of Matteo Levisi, who was actually trying to make a charge up through, and he was challenging the 52 of Nathan Braun's, who was trying to hang on around the outside. This was the overtake for the lead of the race. A fantastic opportunistic strike from Fabio Babini. Velasco just leaving the door open, just extending a little bit too far wide out of turn 13, and providing Babini with that opportunity. And for someone who is so experienced, such as Fabio Babini, also is more experienced in this very championship alone as well, given what he's done in the past. 3 podiums in 8 races last campaign, and Michelin Le Mans Cup with 1 win, 2 podiums in 8 races back in 2022. Italian GT championship driver as well alike. Has certainly provided many thrills and spills over the years, and that was another one.
And is pulling away from Velasco, which is important really in terms of the Pro-Am battle, because Babini is the gold driver in the 78 crew, whereas Velasco is the bronze, and he'll be handing over to Luca Ludwig, their gold driver, in the second half of the race. So you only expect that Mertel car to get quicker, and Davide Schinicchio run since 2020 in Carrera Cup Italy, and before joining the GT Cup in Europe a couple of years ago, hasn't been one of the fastest of the AM drivers, whereas Fabio Babini, multiple sports car champion, has 2 titles in Super Trofeo. He is a GT Open race winner, of course, a European Le Mans Series champion, Michelin Le Mans Cup class champion as well, Italian GT. I mean, you name it, he's raced it. So vastly experienced, very quick driver. He's proven right now 1.2 seconds clear of the rest of the field. This is that battle we were watching a little bit earlier on between Alvaro Labera in the 81 white Mertel motorsport car against the 67 Matteo Levisi. This looks like a problem though for Nico van Dierendonck in the Q1 track racing number 57. Bogdan Duma he's sharing the car with, which is the rally driver turned circuit racer. But for Van Dierendonck, it looks like his race is over, sadly.
And unfortunately for Bogdan Duma as well, it means he will not feature should they retire that car. And of course, someone who lit up the timing screens in qualifying yesterday, managing to qualify second fastest in behind Federico El Rafai, who would go on to take pole for yesterday's race. As we now watch the cars peel their way up the hill once again. Portimao, truly a fascinating watch. Nathan Braun's, who are currently riding on board with, as they head around this next right-hander. They'll very quickly go down the hill again. Braun still trying to close up here in that grey and luminous yellow livery. Might get a chance towards turn 13. No move offing here, so they now head on up. Matteo Levisi doing enough to hold on to his 10th place spot. They're chasing down Alvaro Labera in the other Ferrari for Mertel Motorsports. They head downhill and begin yet another lap very shortly.
But Nathan Braun's having a cracking GT racing debut. Moving over from the VW Fun Cup in Belgium, which he's raced in for the last 2 years. And all of the circuits that we're racing on this year, apart from Spa, are brand new to him as well. But he's got fantastic speed in that AM category and very much pressuring the 67 of Matteo Levisi in front of him. Federico El Rafai was driving that car at the start of the race yesterday. He put it on pole position. And Levisi, who is, I think, made his car racing debut last year. in the Italian GT Sprint Cup AM Championship, and potential overlap here with Nathan Braun's looking down the inside into turn 5. So this would be for 10th position. It's the AM car going ahead of the Pro-Am car, but both of their bronze drivers in at the moment. Nathan Braun through into 10th position as we had a brief yellow flag at turn 1, but all good now by the looks of it.
Yeah, no concerns here. Still under green conditions. Babini still launching out to 1.2 second gap to Ivan Velasco in behind. Alex Ryman trying to get closer. Dieter Schweppes in 4th spot. So still the highest AM driver on offer. As now we see the battles continue with Nathan Braun's now hunting down after Libera as they now curtail uphill once again. And through towards turn 13 as Libera out in front in the Mertel Ferrari. Now circulating through this next right-hander out of the Sagre corner. Let's see whether Nathan Braun can dig deep here and maybe get close. Obviously that straight line is not going to help the Ferrari ahead. It will help the Ferrari ahead. It's not going to help the Porsche that's currently sat behind him. So Nathan Braun's going to have to dig deep in the middle sector. We'll wait and see though, who knows? With turn 1 can open up a few doors. We've had a couple of offs there already in threats of yellows already over the last few laps. But let's take a look at the replay. This was the overtake that Nathan Braun's managed to manufacture. Great move indeed, textbook, and moves on up in pursuit of Alvaro Libera. Matteo Lovisi now down to 11th.
28-year-old from Brussels doing a great job out there in the AM category at the moment. It was debut podium for him in class yesterday. Now this is the 69, the Tsunami racing car, getting all up in Indrik Jaska's business down at turn 5. Nathan Braun now has made the move on Alvaro Libera as well. He's gone Spaniard and made his way through into 9th position, has Braun's. And that is for position in class as well. That's second in the AM category, with Dieter Schweppes still leading quite considerably in 4th position overall. But that is the Q1 car now up into 2nd position in class. And now Evgeny Leonov has dropped a couple more places there, and he might lose one more to Nicolas Saylands in another of the Q1 cars. As a replay of that move from Nathan Braun. Yeah,
getting pushed tight to the inside at turn 5. I think the Ferrari might have been looking for the switchback opportunity, just wasn't to be. And unfortunately for Alvaro Libera, has to concede that P9, and Nathan Braun will take it in gallant fashion. Move on up in P2 in the AM category as we now watch the cars make their way down the hill. Once again, we rejoin the battle between Evgeny Leonov and Nicolas Saylands. Of course, this is the battle for P7. Leonov is quite the distance in behind Lars Zanen, further up, 4.4 seconds between them. So still a ways to go as they head through turn 1. Still though, Saylands with a little bit of work to do, but might get his opportunity sooner rather than later.
Nicolas Saylands well acquainted with Porsche Cup machinery, having raced in Carrera Cup Benelux for 3 years, and also using a Porsche on his way to the Bell Car Endurance Championship in both 2019 and 2021. Although the first title, we actually was a mixed campaign of using a Porsche Cup car and a Lamborghini Super Trofeo car as well. And was familiar with Audi GT2 machinery as well. He and Stinus Longen used that to take the GT2 European Series Pro-Am Championship a couple of years ago as well. And last year was racing in the KTM as well, but now back in Porsche machinery that he's maybe a bit more familiar with. Race leader, Fabio Babini, now coming up on a bit of traffic. That looks like 57 Q1 track racing car, I believe it is, that's got back out onto the circuit after that issue in pit lane that caused them to come in. So coming up on a bit of traffic now is our race leader. Remember, the driver change window opening in just under 5 minutes time as well, but again, you might see some of these guys from the front of the field extend the stint a little bit, although we may see Ivan Velasco in. Like I say, here's the bronze in the Pro-Am lineup, so traditionally you would bring them in a little bit sooner. Lars Zanen on the back of Andrea Bellici here for 5th position. Lars Zanen in another of the Q1 track racing cars. He's partnered up with the reigning AM champion from last year, Xander Prisbalak, will take over the car later on. So Lars Zanen graduating from GT4 European Series.
Zanen actually giving Bellici a headache here, and I'll be honest, there has been a warning for track limits against Bellici as well as they run out of turn 5. So race control and stewards intervening, obviously deeming that the Ferrari is extending where it shouldn't be, as you can just see him slamming on the brakes, heading up through towards turns 7 and 8. Lars Zanen, more than capable, I'm sure, of trying to undertake and make this move happen, and certainly off the back of a history of competing in road tax, and now coming into this as well as competing in Bell Car Endurance Championships as well, becoming its champion with 2 wins against with 8 podiums as well alike, and showing that same venom here this time at Portimao in pursuit of this Ferrari. But still Bellici thwarting every cause, so Bellici now 3.2 behind Dieter Schweppes for that 4th spot. I think definitely more concerned about defending this place, because Zanen is definitely cutting in deep and finding avenues for potential overtakes, but the Rosso Corsa should be able to flex its muscles down the long straight.
He's used to racing with a bit of grunt, having raced with the Chevrolet last year in the GT4 European Series. Of course, the car he's going up against right now has got a fair bit more grunt than what he's got. 670 brake horsepower versus 510. Ferrari versus the Porsche. See, that's the difference. The Ferrari owns those straights. He's able to pull clear. Now, we've got a problem here for Alba Vasquez, sadly, against Indrik Jaska, maybe. Well, Indrik Jaska finding his way through. Although, according to the timing screen, Alba Vasquez back through on Indrik Jaska for what is 15th position and 7th in the AM category currently.
Andrea Bellici now also once again making his way around Tour a bit, a little wider, I think, than the Porsche behind him. But, see, in this case now, he's got to try and dig deep. Lars Zanen up into 6th over the last lap. There wasn't a lot between them, though Bellici was the faster. You can imagine that maybe the time difference was handled within the straights, but we've got a yellow flag at turns 2. Warning also going out to car 52 as well, that being Nathan Braun's with track limits at turns 4, 5 and turns 15. So penalising there, but still yellow flags being raised at turn 2. So interestingly enough, it's catching a few drivers out, as we're now seeing obviously Ivan Velasco just making his way through the field. Obviously, that's the lapped car of Nicholas van Dierendonk that came into the pits earlier on for checks, and is now being lapped by the faster cars ahead. So great job from Velasco to avoid the impending danger. Alex Ryman, though, has done a great job of staying in hot pursuit of Velasco, and now only sits 9/10 away.
30 minutes to go in this race. Driver change window opening in a minute's time, and this is why we've got yellow flags at turn 2. It is the 81 car, Alvaro Labera, sharing that car with Fernando Navarrete, was in 11th position and 3rd amongst the AM runners, but unfortunately now, well, Andrea Bellici in the pits before the pit window has opened.
That's intriguing. Now, we did note that there might have been, well, obviously he was being pressured by Nicholas Salins. We did find it a little bit confusing as well how he lost so many places at the start.
Well, they're not in a hurry to do the driver change by the looks of it.
Oh, wow.
But they're doing a tyre change. Did he have a puncture on that right rear, maybe? They only seem to be changing that one so far. Pit window has been postponed because we've got yellow flags out at turn 2. I can only assume, and that's why, because we've got a safety car out. So they will delay the pit window. And once again, we've got this situation where the pro cars that have built up a nice advantage with their quick driver in at the moment, that's all going to be eradicated. So Fabio Babini's 5.5-second lead over Ivan Velasco is gone. And yet suddenly we have a very different complexion in this race. And of course, it's a bit of a nightmare as well for the cars that have additional handicaps. So that'll be the Volcano car, the EST1 and Mertel and Bracar cars that have got 10 seconds. And then the Rosso Corsa and the 57 Q1 track racing car, they've got 5 seconds to take as well. So that shakes things up quite a bit, I would say. But very curious as to why the Rosso Corsa car came into the pits. It didn't look like they did their driver change, because they've come in. It looked like they only changed one tyre, but then again, we didn't see the full pit stop. So I can only assume there was a puncture on that car, or a slow puncture, and they couldn't survive one more lap to get to the pit window, which is probably a good thing, actually, because they would have still had to stay out anyway, it turns out. But, well, this is how it looks. Under safety car with just under 28 minutes left to run. Fabio Babini leads for Tsunami Racing Team in the number 78 car. Ivan Velasco is second in the number 80 Mertel Motorsport Ferrari. Alex Freiman is third in the EST1 Racing Porsche. Behind them, we've got our AM class leader, Dieter Sveps, in the 911 Raka car. And problems again here for the Rosso Corsa car. So it does look like slightly more terminal issues on that Ferrari. And Andrea Bellicci has found a spot to park the 488, and it will go no further.
Yeah, that's the end of their race. And unfortunately for Lorenzo Innocenti, it means he will not get to come out during the driver pit change window phase. So heartbreaking for Rosso Corsa. They've had a really tough weekend. Remember, they had the penalty that they, of course, received that meant that they had their P2 taken away in the last race. That led them to being dropped to P3 when they changed things up with Ivan Velasco and Luca Ludwig. But in other news, obviously, with the safety car being out and about, with Fabio Babini being at the head of the field, remember, he had a nice 5.5 second cushion that's now been eradicated now. So all the work that Babini's put in place, remember, he's going to be handing over to Scanaccio later on when the driver window opens, who has taken part in the Intercontinental GT Challenge. He had one appearance in that, but mainly around the GT Cup Europe. That's where he's mainly driven, but Porsche Carrera Cup historically has been somewhere where he has competed with Mini Challenge Italy back in 2017. The shots, though, of that stricken Rosso Corsa car, evidential that he will not be taking any further action through the course of this race.
It is good having a drone, isn't it, to have
useful
these little spy shots.
What if we're actually going to go in the car?
That's the kind of things you just never see. Well, he's getting close enough, isn't he? Yeah. Andrea could probably reach out and grab it and say, "Stop spying on me," and send it on its way.
Big shame for Bellicci, shame for Innocenti as well. Been quite a breath of fresh air as well when they came into the series at Paul Ricard last season, where we got even more Ferrari representation to battle against Mertel and against the forces of GDL, Q1 track racing, you name it. Of course, nowadays we've got the likes of Tsunami, SP Racing as well, with R01 Racing Porsche representing from the from Romania. We've got EST1 Racing as well alike, and of course Street Art, who have not made their appearance here so far this weekend, and we probably won't see them until the next round comes up. But still, nonetheless, to have this representation of both Ferrari and Porsches across this grid is truly phenomenal. But it's a shame that Rosso Corsa will not be joining us for the rest of this race here at this point. 25 minutes to go. We're still under safety car.
So I just finished running through that AM category then. So AM class leader is the car that won overall yesterday, the 911 Raka Porsche of Dieter Sveps. Second in class is Nathan Braun's in the 52 Q1 track racing Porsche, 8th overall. And then third in class is the number 79 Tsunami racing team, Johannes Zelga Porsche in 10th position overall. So just over 24 minutes left to go. We are under safety car conditions after having one of the cars parked up at turn 1, Alvaro Labera, and now Andrea Bellicci has added to the list of cars that need clearing from the circuit, as he's parked up at what looked like around turn 12 or turn 13. And the pit window has been postponed, so it should open again once we go green. Of course, that does mean that the second driver is going to be getting a fairly short stint here, I'd have thought, because we're already got almost progressed past where the pit window was going to end at this point as well. We're still on the safety car, and once the pit window opens, there are some teams that will extend it for as long as possible. But safety car is going to be coming in this lap. 23 minutes left on the clock. Fabio Babini leads Ivan Velasco, leads Alex Ryman on the restart. Remember, Babini had a 5.5 second advantage before going in, before the safety car came out. Babini lets the safety car go. Tsunami Racing Team driver will put his foot to the floor. Wonder if this is an opportunity for Ivan Velasco to try and use that Ferrari power bike, capitalize down the straight and regain the lead of the race. We are back racing once again. Green flags are waved in Portimao, and Fabio Babini leads Ivan Velasco down the front straight and is hovering in the middle of the track because he knows that the Ferrari is king down the straight. Velasco draws up alongside Babini's car to the outside at turn 1, but he cannot go around the outside there, and Fabio Babini does just manage to fend off the Mertel Ferrari as Dieter Schweppes tries to get around the outside of Alex Ryman and take 3rd position overall in the race. Didn't quite see if he managed to make that work as the 53 Q1 Track Racing car, that's Lars Zanen, seems to have a bit of problem and has dropped a few spots. This is on board with Dieter Schweppes coming down towards turn 5, coming right to the outside of Alex Ryman's car. Gonna have to go the long way round, tries the old up and under on Ryman, the Estonian racer, but can't get any momentum as they head up towards turn 7, the right-hander, and he'll have to settle for 4th.
Yeah, Ryman viciously defending, but here comes now Dieter Schweppes, who has a look down the inside. This is something that we've seen from Schweppes time and time again, always looking to make the big moves. He did it to the Ferrari of Ivan Velasco in yesterday's race, and now he's looking to do exactly the same to Alex Ryman, who is putting up a huge defense here at this point. But is it enough to take on Schweppes, who now looks to the inside? A switch back again as we take a look at a replay from turn 1. Of course, a big moment occurring as we saw the Volcano car of Evgeny Leonov and a spin.
That's Zanen.
That's Lars Zanen.
Yeah, so we thought he'd lost a couple of places. That's why he's done a complete 360 pirouette down at
This didn't get stuck.
Yeah, yes, and at least he didn't bounce over the curbs like like the other Q1 car did yesterday. So he has rejoined somewhere further down. I mean, timing screen's still showing him in 5th position, but I think that's quite right. Bailing into the pits, Alex Ryman, because the driver change window is now open, and Ryman's taking the first opportunity to bring his car into the pits. Of course, he's running solo, so he hasn't got a driver change to complete, and will have to take 10 seconds of handicap as well, because he is a Pro-Am runner running solo. So effectively, that means you've got an all-pro lineup if you don't take additional penalties. Stina's long in, about to get on board the number 11 Q1 Track Racing Porsche. Also Federico Arifai getting on board the 67. That's Ryman's car there. See a lot of activity down at Mertel Motorsports. They've got a couple of their cars in, including Alba Vasquez, who's handing over to Laura van den Hengel. And this is Jorge Cabezas taking over from Annie Frozio. Sander Prisbalak getting on board the Lars Zanen car that we just saw spinning as well. So all activity down in the pit lane, and pit stop of car 17 will be investigated after the race. Not sure what that's necessarily about, because I think they might just be investigating why he came into the pits.
Eventually, that was Bellici's car that was retired anyway.
Yeah, that car's out anyway. But it's not like Innocenti got on board and did the pit stop outside of the window. Might be a safety matter that they're looking into.
Possibly.
Because there are various restrictions and rules and regulations about placements and also who necessarily can be in pit lane and what you have to wear to be allowed to be in pit lane during a live race. Babini bouncing over the bump at the final corner there. Velasco now peels right into pit lane. There'll be Luca Ludwig getting on board that car now. Hopefully he's taken on a bit of fluid since the end of the GT Open race. And will want to make up for the fact that his car won in class on the road, but had a penalty and didn't end up taking the class win. There is Ludwig, about to get on board.
Of course, the car that would go on to finish in second place after the emergence that we saw in yesterday's GT Cup Europe event. There's Laurent van der Velde stepping in for Nathan Braun's got a chance to speak to van der Velde, and we did allude to what happened in qualifying in Q1 yesterday. As we now rejoin this fight, of course, formerly driven by Lars Zane and Xander Prisbalak now behind the wheel of the 53 Porsche. Alex Ryman staying out. He's flying solo here in this series, heading through towards turn 13. We know how quick Alex Ryman can be, the young man who comes in here looking to try and challenge potentially for the title. And it's obviously has high ambitions as a young up-and-coming star. GT Cup Europe and with one win in 5 races last season, debuting in GT3 racing in 2023 after getting that 1 race win at Paul Ricard during the campaign. As now we see the activity coming out of the pit lane once again as the driver change has now occurred. Luca Ludwig behind the wheel of the car. Laurent van der Velde also at the wheel of his. As we now see them come through turns 1. Florentin Sescu jumping in for Camel Perrion for the RO1 racing team. There is Babini, who has surely got to consider about coming in sooner rather than later, but will stay out for as long as possible to give a rightful buffer to David Scanaccio.
He leads by 2.6 seconds to Dieter Schweppes. In comes Evgeny Leonov, another car that will have to take an additional 10 seconds as a solo Pro-Am runner. And brings that down to pit lane speed. Was running in 4th position before the stops, if memory serves. Moving his way down and making his stop. So they're going to go for a tyre change. Looks like they're just checking the pressures. All nice and calm down at Volcano Motorsport. It's the Steenis Longin car ahead of Al Rafai in 9th and 10th position as Glauco Solieri does his pit stop as well in the GDL Racing Porsche. 52 from Q1 Track Racing, Laurent van der Velde. Looks like he's come out behind, not too far behind the Luca Ludwig car, and indeed behind the Steenis Longin car. So I think we're going to get an update on the timing sheets there. Well, actually, the Luca Ludwig car has come out behind Steenis Longin, behind Laurent van der Velde, behind Federico Al Rafai as well. So this could be as low as 4th and 5th position, really, for Luca Ludwig, which is not surprising because the safety car bunched everyone back up, and they had 10 seconds of handicap to take as well. So the Luca Ludwig car's got a bit of work to do. In comes race leader Fabio Babini. Davide Scanaccio will get on board that car. Leandro Martin's in as well. Well, we only had 2 minutes left on the clock, so you could still squeeze in one more lap if you wanted to, but no one has done it. So these are the last cars that needed to make their stops. Leandro Martin's getting on board the Racar Porsche, now the 911 machine. And let's see where Davide Scanaccio feeds back into the race then. See where Leonov does as well, because really this has made quite a big difference to the order. We'll get it confirmed when everybody gets across the timing line and it all shakes out. But for sure, Luca Ludwig has got some cars to pass if he wants to win this race, and he's got to try and close in on Federico Al Rafai, which is not going to be easy because that's the car that put it on pole position in qualifying yesterday. The Saudi Arabian F4 champion, a brand new championship, and won it in his first year.
Here comes now the Scanaccio car.
Yeah, so he's going to lose out to Steenis Longin. And the Racar car as well obviously had 10 seconds to take as well, so he drops down a little bit. The Q1 car going through, and the Racar going to come out right in front of Luca Ludwig, but he's going to have to yield that place. No momentum coming out of the pits. Luca Ludwig goes through.
Leandro Martin's going to have to wait in behind as well, and he's got a queue of cars also still trying to attack him further down. If we include the likes of Alex Ryman, who's also in the mix, Sander Prisbalak, and several others as well, but still Scanaccio out in front, but being hunted down by Steen's Login, and also Federico El Rafai. You've got to factor him into all this too, as they now peel out of Tora Vip, climbing on up the hill as well. Once again, through to the double right-handers again. A little threat down the inside. Driver change window has come to an end, but Luka Ludwig threatening all over the back and trying to look to gain his place. He's going to try and split the difference, surely not make it too wide. Scanaccio at risk, as now we see the 52 carry on through. That's Laurent van der Velde in the mix of all that, including now Luka Ludwig, who tries to send it up the inside, heading through this next right-hander, and does find it through, comes down over the crest, and Ludwig now usurping that Porsche.
I think that is third position that Ludwig's just found himself in, as Alex Ryman gets up the inside of Scanaccio as well, and won't be long before Sander Prisbalak finds his way through as well, through the penultimate corner. 12.5 minutes left on the clock. So I think it's Steen's Login in the lead of the race in the number 11 car. Get confirmations to go over the line. Yes. So Q1 Track Racing, number 11, Steen's Login leads the way. The GT2 European Series Pro-Am champion from 2022 leads Federico El Rafai and Luka Ludwig. And then Laurent van der Velde and Alex Ryman going side by side for fourth position. Van der Velde trying to get around the outside, and you've got Sander Prisbalak right behind as well. So it's a field of Porsches. It's EST1 versus Q1, as the 53 Sander Prisbalak gets up the inside of his teammate and dispatches of Laurent van der Velde. That is the two reigning AM champions going together side by side there into turn 3. Yeah. Great stuff.
Champions from last season. Now was friends, now bitter enemies out on track. But as they make their way out of the hairpin at turn 5, Laurent van der Velde, who currently riding on board with, now has to try and soak up some of the pressures. And the Prisbalak, though, looking like the aggressor as he goes on the hunt of one Alex Ryman. Heading up through now towards, and look at this, a very aggressive look here from Sander Prisbalak, who finds the tighter line. Heading out of Samson Corner, out of turn 8, through up towards turn 9 they will go. And then the blind corner at turn 10, which does provide opportunities for many. Sander Prisbalak taking that wider line in a bid to cut back through, is going to try it as they go down the hill. Once again, now sweeping through to the next left at turn 11, turns 12, and through towards turn 13 at this heavy braking zone. Prisbalak now searching. He finds it, manages to break away from Alex Ryman and threw it up the inside. It proved profitable and now finds himself moving up the order. Moves into P5.
So Login's advantage up at the front of the field is 3 seconds. Ludwig a further 5 back. So let's monitor the lap times for the final 10 minutes of this race. As we see Sander Prisbalak now in 4th place, but Alex Ryman coming back at the Belgian racer down into turn 1, trying to find the toe. And Prisbalak just holds the middle of the road, hops over the curb, and it keeps the Estonian at bay for now. Private in a Q1 track racing sandwich. They are the reigning team's champions and fielding a few cars here, so it's likely you'll come across one of their cars at some point. It's on board with Van der Velde at the back of this queue, who is in the AM lead, ahead of Leandro Martins by a couple of cars. That's his nearest class rival. Van der Velde trying to mix it up with some of the Pro-Am cars.
Still leading the AM fight at the moment, so comfortably in front of Leandro Martin. So this isn't really Laurent van der Velde's fight, but still an overall result would still be nice nonetheless.
A replay here of the move from Sander Prisbalak, getting up the inside of Alex Ryman into turn 13. This is how it looks from Laurent van der Velde's perspective. Up the move, up the inside, turn 13. Plenty of space given by Alex Ryman.
There's reports of debris on the track on the main straight.
Oh no!
Oh dear me!
Yesterday's overalls race winner,
Rakar,
is out of the race, parked up at turn 8 by the looks of it. For Leandro Martins, he was running second in AM in this race as well. But yesterday's overall race winners out of contention now, as Evgeny Leonov looks to make a move here on Davide Scanicchio and gathers him up through the final corner. That is at 7th position overall now for Evgeny Leonov. So that battle between, Chris Black again walloping the curb at turn 1, but he's still got Alex Ryman for very close company. Heading down into turn 3, Estonian from EST1 Racing, chasing the Belgian from Q1 Track Racing. Just keeping an eye on those lap times as well, because Federico Al-Rafai is slightly closing in on Stinus Longin. But the fastest car of the lead 3 is Luca Ludwig. Last time around was 0.8 of a second quicker than our race leader, and has just gone fastest in the first sector as well. He's closed into 6.5 seconds behind the race leader in 3rd position now.
Of course, Al-Rafai, the Saudi Arabian champion in Formula 4, and even prior to that has gone on to do great things, competing in the Spanish F4 Championship as well as F4 UAE, and also successful in karting. This was the moment where, of course, the Racar Porsche would come to a spin. Yesterday's winner, yet again another home race in Leandro Martins, getting caught, and I must say very fortunate not to collect anything else, but still nonetheless unfortunate to see. But we'll have to self-right themselves. We have got green flags at turn 8, so no concerns necessarily here at this point. They have self-righted themselves.
Home race, of course, for Leandro Martins and for the team, but unfortunately, it just looked like he dropped it on his own down at turns 7 and 8. Sadly, this is our race leader. His advantage down to 2.2 seconds. He lost a further half a second to Federico Al-Rafai on the last lap, and Luca Ludwig in 3rd place, doing the fastest lap of the race. He was another 0.8 of a second quicker than Federico Al-Rafai as well. So we've got 3 cars chasing after each other, and they're in reverse performance order as it stands. This should close up very nicely in the last 6.5 minutes of this race.
Expect so. Stinus Longin still doing a great job out in front, with Federico going to work on the Delta, and there is half a second, well, nearly half a second that separates them on the last lap alone. So if he puts in a shift here, Al-Rafai could find a little bit more, could help his cause. Luca Ludwig posted the fastest lap of the race as well in the Mertel Motorsport Ferrari. We're swapping over from Ivan Velasco, who did the initial stint due to the handicaps being served as necessary as well. Ludwig this time at the wheel, fresh off the back of competing in the International GT Open here at Portimao alike. Only in our last race, in fact, so he's gone from one to another, back to back, and looking at a potential podium right in the face. Obviously, we'd love a little bit more than that. 2.9 away from Federico Al-Rafai in this case, but the difference in terms of lap time, take it on face value, based on what we've just seen him do in the fastest lap, 0.8 quicker than Federico Al-Rafai, who put in a personal best lap in that last lap alone. So who knows? Still a mystery, as now we see Stinus Longin make his way down the home straight, and we'll commence to lap 23 here so far. 5 minutes of the round to go. And it's the case that we have got Pro-Ams listed across the top 5. Laurent van der Velde is still leading the AM category and doing so brilliantly right now. He's got Evgeny Leonov in behind by around 1.1 seconds. And Davide Scanicchio, who has taken over from Fabio Bobini, 4.6. These are the gaps now. And still, Federico going to work, again finding nearly another 0.5 of a second, just over 4.5 tenths now.
Yeah, 1.7 seconds now is Stinus Longin's advantage. Stinus Longin, former NASCAR Whelen Euro Series class champion. That was a slight left field season, but in amongst his GT racing career, accolades in the Belgian Endurance Championship and the GT2 European Series as well, but coming under big pressure at the moment, because again, Ludwig was another 0.6 quicker than Al-Rafai, so now it's only 4.1 seconds covering the top 3. This could get very spicy towards the end. It is Q1 Track Racing Porsche against GDL Porsche against Mertel Ferrari in the closing stages of this race. Federico Al-Rafai, in his first weekend of GT racing, still so young and relatively inexperienced. The UAE driver born in Italy, but last year was his car racing debut, racing in F4 UAE, Spanish F4, and then just winning the Saudi Arabian F4 Championship, as you mentioned there, George, and now making the switch into GTs. Amazing how much speed and confidence this young man has.
Could be in for a banzai finish here as well.
It really could be. Let's see what the gap is this time. It's much closer than it was. And Federico Al-Rifai now into the 46s. The gap down to 1.1. Another fastest lap of the race from Luka Ludwig, who takes half a second out of Al-Rifai as well. 2.9 seconds now covers the top three. Ludwig is the fastest of these three cars, and both he and Al-Rifai are closing in on race leader Steeners Longin. We've got two different manufacturers and three different teams fighting for the win here. And with only 3 minutes left on the clock, the question is, who's going to blink first?
Jorge Cabezas moved into the top 10 as well, now P9 after dispatching Johannes Selger, who's now dropped down to 10th. And now we've got the battle for P1 starting to brew. Longin, who faces yet another, should we say, 2.5 laps, I would say, of the realm at this point, because of course we've got to factor in the time. It could be 2 laps at this stage. So you see them coming over the crest. There's Longin now, just cruising up through this next left-hander, will then eventually make the climb up the hill after taking this blind right-hander. In behind, there's Al-Rifai as we speak. Moving in from single-seaters now into GT machinery. We've got Luka Ludwig as well in full pursuit. So a three-way fight with 2 Porsches and 1 solitary Ferrari to decide who's going to win race 2 in this affair. Obviously, Ludwig would see it as a rite of passage after the difficulties they had in the previous race, coming only second after the stewards decided that Bellici was in the wrong during their incident in the closing stages of race 1. And now Ludwig faces an opportunity of perhaps taking a lot more than that here in race 2. They're about to start yet another lap. It's Steens Longin and Federico Al-Rifai, with Luka Ludwig starting to close up in behind. Look at the gaps now, 0.7 of a second between Al-Rifai and Steens Longin. Ludwig now into 1.1.
And this could well be the last lap of the race now. Only a minute and a half left on the clock. 1.9 seconds covers. Yep, it's been confirmed now. 1.9 seconds covers the top 3. They are 11 seconds clear of the rest of the field. They can afford to battle. Steeners Longin has been watching that GDL Racing Porsche just get bigger and bigger and bigger in his mirrors. Is he close enough to make an attack on this final lap? Well, it's going to have to be very late indeed, because right now he still lags by 3/4 of a second. And Luka Ludwig arriving on the scene as well. He's now 1.1 behind Federico Al-Rifai for second position. Steeners Longin has got to keep everything pointing in exactly the right direction, and has got to be oh so careful. One mistake here will cost him very dearly indeed. But Steeners Longin, the Q1 track racing car, is on course for victory. Him and Nicolas Salins could be on course for victory. This is the last big stop of the race, really. So long as he gets out of here, he should be A-OK for the victory. It's been a big entry for Q1 track racing. They say they want to get the driver's title back after losing it to Mertel Motorsport last year. Fingers crossed all the way to the finish line. But Steeners Longin now comes out of the final corner. And for him and Nicolas Salins at Q1 track racing, it will be victory in race number 2 in Portimao, just by half a second to Federico Al-Rifai's GDL Racing Porsche alongside Matteo Lavisi. Luka Ludwig makes it 2 overall podiums for the number 80 Mertel crew alongside Ivan Velasco. A great finish to that race, only 1.2 seconds covering the top 3 in the end. Here is Laurent van der Velde to take victory in the AM classification. Double victory for Q1 track racing in this race, both the overall and AM victory. Laurent van der Velde across the line for him, and Nathan Prawns, his first GT racing victory in his debut weekend in the championship. A great day for the Belgian pairing as the rest of the field make their way through. Last 2 cars will come across the line. We had 18 runners left in the end. Laura van den Hengel and 17 runners left in the end because we did lose Leandro Martins, I think. But yeah, what a day for Stine Slongin and Nicola Sayland.
Yeah, Stine Slongin coming in off the back of competing in the GT2 European Series in the Pro-Am class, 4 wins and 5 podiums with 3 pole positions during the course of that campaign. Has also taken part in the Bell Car with 4 wins in that championship as well. Has been a consistent performer in GT2, was its champion back in 2022. And lines up alongside the likes of Nicola Sayland, who is a 24-hour of Zolder winner and also a GT2 European Series driver in his own right, also competing in Bell Car as a race winner.
Victory for Q1 track racing. Nicola Sayland and Stine Slongin ahead of Federico Alrafai and Matteo Lavisi for GDL, and Mertal Motorsport completing the podium with Luca Ludwig and Ivan Velasco in 3rd. Sander Prispelak and Nicholas Zenon in 4th position, Alex Ryman 5th, and Evgeny Leonov in 6th. And then the AM victory going to Laurent van der Velde and Nathan Braun, again for Q1 track racing. Jorge Cabezas and Andy Frozio, a top 10 finish there in 8th position. Davide Scadiccio and Fabio Babini 9th across the line in the end, with Johannes Zelga in 10th position. Florentin Cesco and Camille Perrin in 11th, Glauco Solieri 12th, Indrik Jaska, Melgar and Bazzoni in 14th, Barra Kelly and Kezi, Laura van der Hengel and Alba Vasquez in 16th. And then Leandro Martins and Dieter Schreps getting across the line 17th in the end, but a very disappointing day as it was for the 57 outfit as well. And the retirements for Andrea Bellici, Alvaro Lobera and Leon Chen did not start the race. That means Ivan Velasco and Luca Ludwig lead the Drivers' Championship by 6 points to Lars Zenin and Sander Prispelak, with Leandro Martins and Dieter Schreps still right in there, just 1 point further behind, tied with Nicola Sayland and one of her other entries as well. Didn't quite get to the bottom of it, but very close in the championship as Stine Slongin will celebrate. But this is Federico Alrafai celebrating his 2nd place finish. Making sure they get the social media clips. Yeah, and the photos as well, of course.
Grand performance from Federico Alrafai. I think there's been a lot said about the young talent that we have in the GT Cup Europe Championship, Federico Alrafai being one of them. And also, we've got to give credit to Bogdan Duma, of course, competed. Obviously, they were hindered slightly through the course of the race. They had to box twice in the pits. But Luca Ludwig taking a victory here alongside, or should I say, taking P3, I should say, Luca Ludwig, here in this case in the Mertal Motorsport Ferrari. Stine Slongin making his way into the pits now, or into Parc Fermé, where he'll certainly, I'm sure, go and join the rest of his team in what I'm sure will be one they're going to treasure through the course of this campaign, and they could actually mount a reasonable challenge. It was a good start for Nicola Sayland, looked really quick, and then bringing Stine Slongin in to complete the job was what was necessary. Q1 track racing have such a vast history in this series. Have had many great drivers, including the great Dirk Schouten as well. But celebrations here for Stine Slongin and Nicola Sayland. A truly phenomenal performance, and no question as to why these celebrations are occurring now. It was a close-fought battle. It looked like it was going to come to an end, coming in towards the closing stages with Alrafai on the push and Luca Ludwig in hot pursuit as well. But he held on and brought the victory home for the team.
Well, they were obviously teammates when they won the GT2 championship. Went their separate ways last year and didn't win the title. Clearly, they need to be.
They work well together
alongside each other. Yeah. Well, because Nicola Sayland ended up switching to KTM, didn't he? And Longin finished 3rd in the championship, and Nicola Sayland did at least manage to score a win, but not quite replicating the success that they had together, which they've just been able to do in very different machinery, of course. And Porsche machinery in Cup car level, which both of them have had experience in before. But this is the top 3. Luca Ludwig and Ivan Velasco for Mertal Motorsport. 2nd podium finish of the weekend for Ludwig, and the reigning champion Federico Alrafai and Matteo Lavisi. 2nd for GDL Racing. Great result for them, but victory for Q1 track racing. It is Stinus Longin and Nicholas Salins aboard the number 11 machine. Coming under great pressure towards the end of that race.
Do I need to wear it?
Yeah. So we are with the winners of race 2 of the GT Cup Europe here at Portimao, the newcomers, Stinus Longin and Nico Salins. Not bad for a debut.
No, I'm really happy. We struggled a bit during the weekend. We have to find everything how the Porsche work. And I'm happy to end the weekend with a win. I'm so happy, really, with my friend Nicolas. He did a great job, so happy.
You did a great job, and how do you see the championship?
Yeah, also like Stinus said, this weekend we had some bad luck yesterday, but today we had some good chances and we took the best of it. Stinus did a great run, I did a good run, and we made the best of it. And it's good for the championship, of course, because yesterday we got 0 points. It's gonna happen. But now today we have a jackpot, and we are very happy with that. Yeah.
It's just starting. For the time being, enjoy. Podium. Well done.
Let's take a look back at the highlights of the race then. It was Ivan Velasco who led the field away in the green Myrtle Ferrari in the early stages of the race. Fabio Berbini challenging around the outside, but it was Alex Ryman who was the man on the move, making up 2 places to get into 3rd position. Rosso Corsa getting a great view of the Rackar move around the outside of Evgeny Leonov, and Andrea Belici himself making this move on Leonov a little bit later on down into turn 5, giving the Q1 track racing car a chance to go through. Fabio Babini took the lead of the race in the same place that Velasco lost the lead of the race yesterday, down at turn 13. Great battles further down as the Porsches went wheel to wheel. 52 car, Nathan Braun's making that move on the Myrtle Ferrari a little bit further down the order. Nathan Braun's having a cracking start to his GT racing career. Driver change window opened. That dropped some of the cars further down. Luca Ludwig came out in 5th place and had to start making up moves. And first of all, doing so on Laurent van der Velde, who did come away with the AM victory in the end. And this moment here for yesterday's race winners, Rackar Motorsport, disappointing for them. That dropped them down the order. But Stinus Longin absolutely soaked up the pressure from Federico Arifai and Luca Ludwig as they were bearing down on him all the way through to the end of that race to take their maiden victory in the GT Cup and put Q1 track racing back on the top step of the podium, which is where they are heading to now.
Yeah. And as they now look to accept their trophies, first of all, they got to stand on the podium steps. And Luca Ludwig coming across from the International GT Open. Not even a break in a sweat, I think. Is that what he's saying? Goodness me. But there is Federico Arifai as well. A very exciting young driver, as well as his teammate as well. Young combination between the pair, Matteo Lovisi, Italian GT Sprint, GT Cup AM as well.
I will say the new guy at GT Sport doing a good job to remind Luca Ludwig to please wear the Michelin cap because we want to please them. So well done, rookie. Of course, the Q1 track racing representative as well there for Edgar Terriam's team. And for his team, we will hear the Belgian national anthem. Well, congratulations to Stinus Longin and Nicholas Aylands and the Q1 track racing team. Of course, it's a double victory for them with the AM category as well. That was completed by Johannes Zelger's number 79 car and Florent Cesco's R01 racing Porsche that he shares with Camille Perriand. The trophies being handed out by the Michelin representative. I wonder how much Payne will get on this one. It's been a fairly mixed bag this weekend, as the winners now receive their trophies from the Michelin representative. Just the team trophy left to go. Saw Edgar Terriam there underneath the podium while the national anthem was playing, looking up at his drivers and seeing his team win once again. It's a great end to the season for them, and it's a strong start as well, with victory in both classes.
Yeah, absolutely thrilling scenes, and you can hear the cheers from the Q1 track racing teams. They said Graham Heritage here in this championship. He will.
He's getting out of there quick.
Yeah, he is not waiting around. Of course, yeah, no fears in spraying the champagne this time. Al Rafai getting a face full of it as well, along with his teammates Matteo Levisi. But a grand day for Q1. Back on top again, a Porsche hitting the heights, and Luca Ludwig as well, also departing off after competing in 2 different championships across this entire weekend.
So, more GT Cup fun still to be had in Hockenheim in 2 weeks' time. A new round for the championship, expanding to 6 rounds. So we will see the drivers out on the podium. So it will be Florent Cescu and Camille Perriand. Florent Cescu, the rally driver, turned GT racer, pair that finished 5th in the AM category last year. They were on the podium at the finale in Barcelona last time out. And of course, first weekend with the 992 after 2 seasons in the 991.2 car as well. So coming away with an AM podium as well. Johannes Zelger, the 79 car for Tsunami racing team. He spent his whole career with the San Marino outfit. And of course, victory for the number 52 car. Laurent van der Velde, the reigning AM champion, and Nathan Braun's his GT GT racing debut. His first visit to Portimao as well, coming away with an AM victory. Not bad for the 28-year-old from Brussels, and of course the reigning AM champion alongside him. And as we mentioned, double victories for Q1 track racing, as Nathan Braun's and Laurent van der Velde collect their trophies. And that is all from the GT Cup Europe in Portimao. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the second round in Hockenheim.